that would work essentially. But I think we've got a bit of a plan. So, right, that should be streaming in a second. Um, yeah,
So,
so the theory was I'll just start with the simplest one. So like this should make a lot of the problems go away in itself by defaulting to midday rather than midnight because
well,
um
90% of the issue would be kind of fixed.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I guess time I'm trying to think if it is time trackable or yeah, time.
Yeah, it is, but the service, so the mutation to create the time log via GraphQL is using the timelog create service, and there is where we set the time, or maybe on the mutation itself.
Going to
Probably on
say
the,
that I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of different entry points depending on whether it's an issue or a merge request, and if it's GraphQL or REST or UI, or but maybe not.
you actually should only have 2 points. So you should have the timelog create mutation, because I'm relatively sure that it's not handled by the service. The service expects you to give the time as well. Um, and the other one is only used for the quick actions, because the REST API, I think, also uses the service.
Okay, okay, cool. Well, we've got we should be able to test everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's start with one thing that we can check. So there is a bit of a question that I have. If we say we're going to default to mid, okay. So yeah, we still want to. Hey,
Hello.
shout if you've got any questions at any point, or if there's anything. Me and Marco, or I say Marco, more me, are a bit greedy and always got stuff in our backlog to work through. But if there's anything that you need support with, please shout. Um, yeah. So you think that the service is used by the quick action?
No, the service is used by the mutation, the quick
Oh,
action.
okay.
I maybe I consolidated it all down to the service, even the quick action, but I don't remember
Oh yeah.
honestly.
There we go. There we go. Okay. So I think.
Yeah, and you see on line 38, if you don't provide a spent at, it defaults to daytime current.
Yeah. Perfect. Um, never remember issue action. It's like issue and merge request action. Right.
So okay, so there are a
Oh,
couple.
this then passes it to some other service, I guess.
Yeah, I remember this being kind of a nightmare to find where it was, but if you try to search for timelog.new or .create,
Let's look for
then maybe I already updated everything
to
for
use that. Yeah,
service.
maybe.
Uh, if update quick action service, if update note ID. Um,
add spent time service. That vaguely rings a bell.
Yeah, it does.
So we've got a spend time method on merge request. Oh yeah, so this one's just use merge requests. Um, but that would be coming from time trackable, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, perfect.
I would have a look at the quick action service on the next search result. Update, note ID, execute update service.
This
Mm.
one. Oh no, that's a test.
And the one, yeah, that one. Duration. So this is for the remove, and the one
Yeah,
before should be, yeah, but it's providing the, yeah, but you see the time spent date because you have the spent time and dates separated because there's a parser.
yeah.
Parser, which I think that defaults to a value. I'm trying to open the repo as well so that I can have a look.
Yeah, so we use date pass. So yeah, the annoying thing is like I feel like I could easily what would it be like do stuff like this, but in every place. But then I like to know which ones actually, which one's which and would how would that work? Because that would be a date type. Would that actually work? Let's bring up a
Hmm.
yeah, that does work. Okay, so that's one place. So I might just start by trying see if that what that actually changes. So I'll open a merge request, I'll open an issue. So I'll do 1 hour.
The thing is that you can't really do it that way because you can also provide the time, or maybe not.
No, you can't, not with the quick action.
Okay. I don't know why I remember that we could set both the date and the time.
Possible. We do want, I think that's on the list of what we'd like to do. Add the ability to specify a time. Yeah, that'll take some thinking. It's a bit of a bug. I don't know if you'd notice, or maybe it's not a bug. Maybe it's we used to have a button, didn't we, to load the time tracking report, and now it looks like the numbers just a hyperlink.
Yeah.
I guess that's deliberate. Yeah, so that's worked um, for the
Yeah.
quick action on an issue. I hope it will do the same in a merge request as well.
It should. And for the UI, you will actually need to make a change on the view component.
Yeah, front end. So that one does, like you say, that does pass the date and time, I guess.
That passes the full date and time, yes. And if you don't specify it's not it's passed as nil to the backend, and in that case, it takes the date and time of the server.
Yeah, so that one's worked. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. So yeah, so you say, like you say, view component. Remember what it's called?
Time logs up, and then we have the
Not time logs app. That's the one that shows the
oh
report,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, sorry.
Create time log form. I guess that's it.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, we currently do some default stuff.
should be there.
This bit to ISO date, right?
Yep.
So how good is math in
Hmm. Okay.
yeah, maybe. I'm sure there's a better
I think you can do that. Simply pass that to ISO date format.
uh, the that
Yeah,
into here. I don't
exactly.
like it though.
Get time. No, I don't like it either because it's only handling the time. Or is it? I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't. No, I don't know. I'm sure we must do this somewhere else. Stage. It doesn't give the same solution it already gave in code suggestions. I guess I'll be quite surprised. That's more like it. Set hours.
Which one?
But the question is
Uh,
if we do this and the hours are already um like 15 or something, does it explode? But I don't think so.
huh. That should actually be better because it would set 12 o'clock in UTC, overriding your time zone. Because you good oh well, actually. What if you're in a time zone that in respect to UTC, you're already on the next day?
That's what I was trying to figure out. Um, but then let me just think about this. So we're taking, we want it to be midday.
We could take the current date with the current locale, convert that to UTC, and then set the time. So basically, if this is now 1 o'clock on my time zone, which is on the next day in respect to UTC. Converting that
Hmm.
to UTC would go back to the previous day, and then we can set 12 o'clock.
No, you know what? You know what? I think we're overcomplicating this. Unless this is what you just said, but my brain isn't. Um, Revert this. I think that all we need to do is how do I can I temporarily I'm gonna have to repeat myself lots of times, but this dot spent at will give. So if we're ready, yes, we want to get oh no, my brain's really so it's currently in the region.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we're in Australia now and we were doing this, it would be well not, but let's pretend it'd be tomorrow, so it'd be the 16th of April. But then
But
how do we convert it to UTC?
but do we really have to? Because so spent at is a time date time value computed on your local time zone.
Yeah.
UISO date format converts that to a string that also includes your time zone. So on the database is saved with the time zone. So when we get it, we just need, I mean, it should be already all right because it's
Oh, I see. I think I see what you're saying.
we're saving it on a database with the right date and time with the time zone encoded. So when we present it to another user, we are converting that to their current time zone. So it does the conversion in the correct way.
Um, let me just have a think about this. So the first thing I'm trying to figure out is do we actually want it to be midday UTC or do we want it to be midday the user's time zone?
I
So
think
go on.
if I'm on UTC +5 and I log
Yeah.
time at 12 o'clock my time, so it would be 7 o'clock UTC.
Okay. Forget that for a second. Forget that for a second because it doesn't matter what the time is at the moment because this is when you're logging time retrospectively.
Yeah, but still, if if for me it was on April 15th and for you it was April 14th because
Yeah.
you're on the other side of the globe,
Yeah.
you will uh, you should be able to see it on April 14th because that would be your date. But for me, it was 15th.
No, I don't like where this is going. Well, we had quite a like we were yeah we'd figured this out, and I feel like we've now unfigured it out. Um, I think it should be midday UTC. Or do I? No. Because the theory was midday UTC would work for most of the cases, but I didn't think that currently when we're using the UI, that this isn't. Oh, God, I thought we had solved it, but we haven't at all. This is just as much of a problem as it ever was.
Yeah.
Uh, um,
The main issue is that we don't know the time zone of the user on the server. Otherwise, we would simply pick the date and time, convert that to the user time zone, and save that. So everyone is
okay. If we're saying if we're basing it on that, I think we go with midday in that time zone,
okay.
which means that we basically
Uh,
all we need,
you might have an issue with that because
right?
the service, and I'm not quite sure about the quick action, doesn't allow you to create a time log in the future. So if you were to log a time log, setting the date to today, you yourself on UTC plus one.
I like you shouldn't. I don't know what it does, but let me just have a quick look. Like you shouldn't be setting this if it's today, right? And maybe we even do something where if you select today, it just vanishes or something. I don't know.
Mm,
But this is specifically for login time retrospectively, like login time in the past, right?
okay.
Um, so what I'm trying to understand with this is this got spent out. It's already got the time zone. So
Yep.
we need to basically add.
We would need to convert that to UTC so with that we get rid of the time zone.
I don't think we do though. I don't think there's any need to like. I think we just do this.
Hmm.
All I need to be sure of is that this handles if it's currently
But that's
no.
adding
Go on.
that's adding 12 hours. It's not setting them.
But we want to add 12 hours because let's see if we can we get the debug. So if I
Well,
when you select
if you comment out the call to the mutation and just console log the result of two ISO date formats.
perfect, yeah, perfect. So
And you
basically
probably also want to comment out the loading set to true, otherwise you'll stay there forever.
and the good thing is at the moment I'm UTC plus one, right? So
Yeah.
what have I broken? What have I broken?
Uh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's null because you didn't set a date.
perfect. Right.
Yeah.
So it's basically always going to be zero.
Yeah, because you're picking a date, not the time.
Exactly. Perfect. Yeah. So we can just add the 12 hours, I think, which is what I was just doing here. Yeah. So I can.
I think that's changing set spent at actually.
Yeah, so do I. So I need to first
Add it as a last console log if you want to see the change.
stick.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Hmm. You know what the funny thing is? To ISO date format is stripping out the time.
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it?
Because it's to ISO date, not date time format.
That's not how we thought it was working, did we?
No, it's actually working exactly like that because it's setting on the back end. It's taking April 1st on midnight UTC.
That's not how I thought it was working, though, unless I fixed this already, which I don't think I did. Let's just create time log. Let's just open this up.
No, that's been like that for months.
5 months. Okay. So now get my brain into gear. So yeah, so but we still want to add the 12 hours first, right? Because if
It
so,
should be enough to use to ISO date time format because the backend, I guess it's adding the time if it's not already provided in the string.
yeah.
That's if to ISO date time format exists.
But
But I
I
think
wonder if we even need it. If we don't want to strip the time off, then do we actually need it?
I
Yes, it's in this weird, I don't know what format that is. Um,
yeah, I would honestly don't strip the I wouldn't handle this on the backend only.
find where it's actually coming from. I think it might be off the shelf.
Date format utility.js. Date.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there it is. Um,
So this is date.
so we've got to ISO string without milliseconds, date and time ISO to ISO string.
Oh, there's also a strip time zone from ISO date.
Still need to rewind and figure out if that's actually what we want or not. I'm really struggling to.
Oh, you have date and time to ISO string.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I was trying, but it wants the date and time separately.
but that
Um,
wouldn't be an issue because we already have the date and the time would just be 12 o'clock.
okay, okay, yeah, yeah, good point. So,
It would actually be probably easier and maybe safer. A string with 12 column 00 zero zero.
okay.
Yeah, and that's setting it to UTC because it's adding the Z at the end.
Yeah,
So that is now at daytime on 12 o'clock UTC.
yeah, which I'm still unsure if that's what we want or not. Um, because I didn't specify here whether it was 12 o'clock UTC or 12 o'clock. So let's read the next point. So we've currently achieved, I think, this in a weird kind of way. Let's just read on. So use the user preference time zone when login time in boss. Right. So I think this was saying we should be adding 12 hours to the user's time zone. And through the front end, we can already do that. Easy peasy. Through the back end, we can only do it obviously if they've actually set their time zone in their profile.
So if we want to use the user time zone, I mean the time zone that the user set on their preferences, I would honestly convert the date and time always to UTC based on their time. So the date and time on the database is always in UTC. Then we do all the conversion on the front end when we display that data.
So there's problems. So first of all, I think we already do, and if we don't, I agree we should always store it in UTC. But the my understanding is that I don't know. I'm going to make up a number now. 90% of users don't have their time zone set in GitLab, but the browser, the UI knows that time zone already.
Yes, and that would work for the UI. The only issue would be API calls
Yeah,
and
quick action,
quick
quick
action.
action.
Actually, API calls, we could work around that if we require the user to also set the time. If you it require them to pass the full string, basically.
So how do we? Have we got? So we've got offs. Again, if we go back to my before, which was const manipulated, spent that. So we take a copy of this. There. What do we? What's the method to this? Right. Don't really care if it's got milliseconds or not.
So you wanted to have a look at the full string, basically the full datetime string. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. I think that's what we want. So now I've got to unhack there. So this is definitely better done separately, right? Rather than trying to do it inside here.
Well, not really, because you just need to call to ISO string without milliseconds and pass in the spent at tweaked.
But then we think this will modify the actual spent at, which is probably not a good idea because if it gets called multiple times, it's. I just wonder if I should move
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, good call.
So I can basically just revert quickly, revert everything. Just oh
I wouldn't revert that.
no. I obviously had a load of stuff checked out. So the only change we made was add spent times there. Where was it that we did the 12 hours? Create service.
No, it was on the quick action.
This one.
Yeah.
So plus 12 hours. Yeah, so I'm just going to do a git restore. And in here, we'll do it inside here.
I would not do it there because you also have an else.
Okay.
At least I think you do have an else to handle the old.
It's
Yeah.
oh yeah, so we got a return here, and then the else is basically this at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we need to change both of those. But it's conditional, so if this does spend that. So I don't love that, but then oh, I got rid of the. Why did I get rid of that? Yeah,
When you remove the console log, I guess.
yeah, yeah. So it was this one. This. And that's why we need to do the conditional check because we only want to call this method. But then I could actually return. Oh, but then I can't manipulate this. No, I can't. I can't.
I would just switch from using spent at to manipulated spent at on the mutation.
Well, I wasn't sure because I can save us doing this twice here. So I
Well,
could
it's not done
do,
twice.
huh?
It's not really done twice. I mean,
Well,
you
it's a tiny bit of duplicate. I figure it's easier to just now this here. Um, so we call this ISO spent at.
yeah.
And then back today, we need to do that. And here we could do constant. I could give it a better name, can't I? Spent at midday.
Yeah. I also have to go in a couple of minutes, unfortunately.
Uh, yeah, I know it's still there. Did it all.
Yes. Default the value to null instead of letting it.
Undefined.
Yeah, just to be sure.
Good.
And you also
Uh,
have a code error on the second call to the mutation.
this bit.
No, go to the when it's actually passing the value to the mutation. Yeah, there.
Sorry. Thank you. Da, da, da. Oh, you know what? I could have. No, I was going to say I could actually call it spent at, and then I don't even have to do that, but it's all good. Right. So network. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, writing a test for this is going to be fun as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that worked. Yay.
Good. So basically, you got is to change the front end to do it midday based on their time zone. At the moment, the back end just doing midday UTC. But
Yeah,
we need to
but
introduce the time zone from the profile if we can, ideally.
yeah, and you have to tweak the time log create mutation when the date is not passed from the front end. It now defaults without setting the 12 hours offset.
How do you mean? Sorry, go again.
If you go to the time log create mutation,
Which I think I had open somewhere. Patient, yeah.
yeah, if you go a little bit down, yeah, on line 38, if spentat is not provided, is using daytime current, you want
Yeah.
to put the 12 hours there.
No. We want the time to be correct if it's not provided.
But you added the 12 hours.
Or do you mean on this side?
No. Oh, because you added the 12 hours on the quick action only when the date is provided. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I hope so anyway. Let me check if I don't provide.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly the right time, I think. Yes, it is, yeah. Perfect.
awesome.
So okay. Yeah, cool. I think that's a good start. Um, Figuring out how to get the time zone. Yes, we'll have to pass an extra
Yeah,
pass something, the user ID or the user object, current user into this or the time zone directly or something.
I would just pass the time zone so you can reuse it without the user.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I think that's the first thing.
Iteration. Yeah.
Yeah, the first bullet. I might just push that and see which tests explode, or
That's a
maybe
good.
I'll test this one because I can find the test. Actually, no, I can find the tests, the unit tests easily for both of these. So I'll start
Yeah.
with that and go from there.
Awesome.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And you as well.
See you later.